4:50 p.m. Berries are getting riper. In fact, ooh, that one is ripe. And delicious. First wild black raspberry picked of this year. You know? Oh, that's another nice one there. Very good. It's raining. It's been raining all day, off and on. Got more rain to come. Off and on. Till, midday Thursday, give or take. Speaking of rain, we'll talk a little bit more about rain. As I decide to go on up and feed the birds. Chickens were up here earlier, but since we started having another round of this fall out, they took off. I had cats out here waiting for me. And well, apparently I've got some birds that are waiting on me as well now. I've seen some up here. So we will go ahead and tend to our little, not so much of a task of feeding the birds here. Oh yeah, we got a sparrow back here that is waiting to come up. So rain. What comes before rain? We're not playing, dude. Okay, so anyways, clouds, right? Well, what comes before clouds? Supposedly, as we were taught through that educational programming process, that it's all about the sun warming up the waters, the great waters of the earth, creating a heating sensation that causes evaporation, thus that causes condensation to the atmosphere overhead. Yeah, it's coming down real nice now. And according to our radar, yeah, this wasn't supposed to be occurring. Yeah, gotta love technology. But anyways, so from that condensation, we get the clouds, right? And then once the clouds can only handle so much, well, there has to be a release or a fallout in the form of precipitation. But today, we have this scenario to where we should know and understand that there is none of that process that is taking place worldwide, as everywhere that you look today, you see these crafts going back and forth across the skies, many times leaving these lengthy and very wide white stripes across the sky, sometimes crisscrossing the sky, sometimes hashtagging the sky. Okay? And you have to understand something. This is all being intentionally done for specific purposes and reasons. Okay? So you might ask yourself, well, why? Well, I won't go into that because, well, you're just not able to comprehend for the most part. Most people are not able to comprehend what is going on. But as far as those in the sky that are creating said weather scenarios and events that take place through these operations, these white stripe operations, you have to understand that in many cases some of the fun stuff that you see in regards of these lines, such as, well, maybe like, well, if you are like me and you record the skies with these types of activities, you might have recorded yourself a giant X in the sky, which I often refer to as being location markers, okay? But how many of you have actually taken notice of the style of an X that has been created? And I've shown this a couple of times within my recordings that it is in fact a hooked X, okay? This is, yeah, I'm going to try to edit in some stuff here. But yeah, the hooked X is a Freemason symbol, okay? Or Knights Templar, whatever you want to consider it as. Alright? So the artists are signing their work with many different symbols, but I'm just using the hooked X as an example. Okay? And you have to understand the history of the Society of Secrets and everything that they've been involved in. And as far as history, the rewriting of history, the resets of history, and so much more. Yeah, I've been just completely disgusted with the thoughts of life in general anymore because of the rabbit holes that I've ventured down. But once again, as I've stated many times throughout the history of this channel, all of this information has been kicking off with me ever since I was very, very young. And it's all built up to this point in time, known as the end times, if you will. And I did not realize how much programming had actually occurred throughout my life with many of the notions and practices and so-called knowledge of that cult. And I'm still learning more and putting more and more connective pieces together to see the big picture. Wow. When the claims are made that everything that you thought you knew that to be true has been a lie. And that's why I also state that don't believe in anything that is considered to be true, because that is through this notion of truth. And truth changes as evidences are applied, whether for or against, pro or con. Truth always changes. So you have to stick with whatever realities are in front of your face at any given moment, because you cannot believe in anything but that. And as far as I'm concerned, I cannot believe in anything but myself. Yeah. Hi, Mr. Baldy. My little buddy Baldy here. The only one brave enough to come up, venture forth through this rain. Yeah, we've got others in the background that are watching. And it's amazing, a couple years ago I came out with, before I really got into this factor of global surveillance, in which, by the way, the society is a global society and has been for a very, very long time. But of course they are part of this global surveillance of today as well. And which, before even, how people were complaining about the surveillance of today, the factors of rights and freedoms, and all that. Well, I think it was 2 years ago I came out and gave a little type of example of, well, you know what, hey, we're always being watched. You know, we're told, we have been programmed that God's always watching, that Santa Claus is always watching, so on, right? And that was before this factor of mass surveillance came about. And before I really got understanding of how the animals are always watching, and how the birds are always watching me. Yeah, always being watched. And then we have, you know, these so-called myths, legends, or stories of the Watchers. Yeah. Believe me, people, I've been going down rabbit holes that I do not enjoy whatsoever, because it's just validating and confirming everything that I have learned throughout my life, and not knowing or understanding why I even had interest in so many different subjects, the wide variety of interests, and it's all coming together, sad to say, because, well, what have I realized? Life is a joke, and I've stated that, you know, many times. Life is a joke, and now I am understanding why. Because of the resets, the fakery of so much. And then now we have all this talk about multiple timelines, parallel worlds, parallel universes, you know, the time loop theory. Yeah, I read. All right, I'll go ahead, let you come on up, okay, if you want. Anyways, I am going to go ahead and end this. I am getting rather drenched out here. I don't like being under the fallout, because we just don't know what's in it anymore, including that of viruses, you know, the heavy metals and plastics and everything else, you know. And then, you know, I go down this rabbit hole, what was it, last night or this morning, whatever, about all the fake food that people are coming across. And of course, that goes right back with all my content pertaining to genetically modified organisms and crops, as well as the bioengineered ingredients within most everything now, you know. No, this world is not about life. It's about surviving factors of death. Are we actually supposed to even survive through medical practices? If I remember right, the good book even states something about you're not supposed to cut into healthy bodies or something like that. I don't know. Cared less. Because after all, we've got the American Medical Academy, which had to have a counterpart because, well, they were practicing under one snake around the staff, and so that had to be balanced out. And so many places out there today have the insignia or symbol of the two snakes around the staff, okay? Oh yeah, people, so many rabbit holes out there, and when you get going down too many of them, once again, having a wide variety of interests, and you know, experiencing all this stuff throughout my whole life, and having it all coming together to this point in time, and I'm really understanding the nonsense, unbelievable. And yeah, I've got, come on up, you're safe, you can come up. I got this cardinal, looks like a female cardinal up here now, but I am once again getting very wet. Birds are out here wanting to eat. Now, I don't want to tease them, so yeah, I just decided, you know, okay, so I had a rant moment this morning. This isn't really a rant, it's just more of an explanation as far as I'm concerned. Oh, the siren's kicking off. Yeah, those have been occurring all over the place. I was contacted earlier today, earlier this afternoon. in regards to whether I've heard any sirens. Well, no. Yeah. Once again, um, weather is fake, just like so much more that we try to consider as being real today. I'm just exposing what I know, what I've encountered, what I've experienced, and what I have observed throughout my life. You can take it any way you want. It really does not matter to me. On that note, this is Skywise out. Oh, and by the way, at 5:10 p.m., even though we are seeing some of these so-called cloud structured formations up here, they are not the rain producers, okay? It is this white, nasty yuck. It is nothing in the form of rain clouds. This is how it's been all day with our so-called precipitation. It is from the whitewashing and not this stuff here, okay? Now, the rain is above this stuff here. So once again, we don't get rain from rain clouds. We get rain or precipitation from the permacloud. Yeah. And that's all. And again, Skywise out.